likely going to end up being the last team in the AFC West division. There's no better way to say it. Look, I like the team. I like a lot of their weapons. Obviously, the big question for them is at quarterback. Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. I think Drew Lock's probably going to start the season as the starter. But you don't. You think it's going to be Teddy, right?
You said Drew Lock's going to be the starter? No, he's not. It's Teddy Bridgewater. It's George Payton's guy. Mm-hmm. One last hurrah for Vic Fangio to prove he can do it. I'll be honest with you. Looking at this schedule, I see a path where Vic Fangio is out on his ass by the bye week.
Really?
I do. I think he's on very thin ice anyway.
To me, I think
now, granted, I think the defense is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The problem is you don't have the quarterback. This is a spot that if Aaron Rodgers somehow wound up with the Broncos, I think they're an automatic playoff team.
Yes.
That's how big of a difference a quarterback can actually make. Mm-hmm. But I just look at Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater and go,
Teddy Bridgewater is serviceable, but he
has a pulse.
And he's not going to win you games. We saw that in Carolina last year. He's going to keep your offense moving. They didn't practice red zone, getting in the end zone. So
I want you to tell me. All right, so
he's not familiar with that.
They start on the road with the Giants and the Jaguars.
Yeah,
hard to win on the road in the NFL. They could easily lose one of those two games. Then they play the Jets. Mm-hmm. I want you to tell me where the win comes in what I'm getting ready to say.
Okay.
Ravens at the Steelers, Raiders at the Browns, Washington football team at the Cowboys, and then the shitty Eagles. But that's
Eagles.
Well, that's 6 losses in a row.
It is, and I think they could. I think it'll be a decent game at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. I know that.
They could lose that game.
They could win that game.
They don't have a snowball's chance in hell of beating the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Washington football team, and at the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. They have no shot. And I think that's enough to get Vic Fangio fired. And I'll be honest with you, and I'm even going to pull down the schedule so you can see my face on this one. It's the greatest thing that could possibly happen to the Denver Broncos. I have said since he got this job, how in the fuck is he an NFL head coach? Mm-hmm. As many guys as have tried to get the opportunity and haven't, how in the world is Vic Fangio still an NFL coach? I think this team is a legitimate starter and a head coach away. And I'll be honest with you, the thing I will commend, George Payton, yeah, he's the adult in the room. Mm-hmm. Did a great job in the draft, put all the weapons around to let Teddy be the game manager he's supposed to be, Javonte Williams, adding Patrick Surtain to the defense, adding all the pieces in the backside of the defense. Mm-hmm. So that if you go 3 and out, you don't convert, whatever the case may be, you can just punt it and let the defense do what it does. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to be in a lot of low-scoring games. Problem is, I don't think either one of these quarterbacks is good enough to beat any of the teams they have in the beginning of the schedule.
I don't believe not any of the teams, but definitely.
Outside of that first 3.
Oh, yeah.
Giants, Jaguars, Jets, and then it goes Murderers Row, that you're going to win 2 of 7 if you're damn lucky.
Yep, and then after Vic Fangio gets fired, you can, reclaim at least 2 more wins after that.
Quite possible.
Detroit and Cincinnati. But even in that stretch, I mean, you got L.A. twice, you got Kansas City twice, and then you got Vegas again.
Here's what I think happens. I think you go through that Murderers Row. Fangio gets fired. In the offseason, George Payton brings in his guy, which I'd still maintain he should have been allowed to do anyway. Mm-hmm. And a year from now, you're a legitimate contender with a legitimate quarterback. That might be Kirk Cousins.
I think you're pretty spot on. I think you're pretty spot on with your guess here.
I got them at 7 and 10. They're winnable games on the schedule. Mm-hmm. And Tank's got them at 4 and 13, which I think is overly dramatic.
It is.
But I don't think they're any better than that. I don't think they're any better than 7 and 10.
No.
I don't see any way that you're better than the Raiders. You're certainly not better than the Chargers or the Chiefs. Mm-mm. And it all comes back to the quarterback. You have all of the pieces you need except that one piece. And I have to be honest with you. This is what I was getting ready to say a minute ago. I commend George Payton for trusting the process. He didn't buy into Justin Fields. He didn't buy into Mac Jones. So instead of trying to shoehorn in a quarterback, he said, nope, I'll go get the one I really want a year from now.
Yep.
That's what a GM with stability and job security does for you. That's what the adult in the room, which is what George Paton is, does for you. Conversely, here's where your life could be. Look at the Chicago Bears and realize you were one draft pick away from being the exact same thing. You got a coach on the hot seat who wants to win right now and a front office that wants to get snaps for the rookie. Just be glad you're not that. It's just one more year, and then you're competitive as hell for a really long time. Don't know who that quarterback's going to be, but you're going to be one of the only teams in the quarterback market, and I think George Paton knows that.
Right.
And I won't be shocked if a year from now it actually is Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to be right now. Aaron Rodgers is going nowhere. I will not be shocked if the 2020 day one starter for the Denver Broncos is Aaron Rodgers. Just remember you heard it. Just remember who said it. Nostradamus, the mullet himself.
That would greatly change the outlook of the AFC West, and then we could be talking about the AFC West.
The way we talk about the NFC West.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say the same thing. As one of the toughest divisions in all of football, because that defense is not going anywhere, and they're not going to be kind. They may have tough games on their schedule, but the Denver Broncos are going to smack people in the mouth.
Exactly. I mean, and this is not going to be a fun team to play. I mean, I want you to understand, I'm saying they have no shot to make the playoffs and all that other shit. That's because of one position. It's still a good team. And it's still going to be a team you do not want to play, and you sure as hell don't want to go to Mile High. So, I mean, it's going to be a fun year for Broncos fans. Just know, come the end, it's probably not going to go your way.
Yeah.
But you're real close. Real close.
We're glad you're along with us here in the Sportsocracy. Join the Sportsocracy family on Patreon, patreon.com /the Sportsocracy. We appreciate everybody who has already joined the Patreon family and encourage you all to do the same. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here, and you'll get all of our NFL team-by-team content rolling throughout the season.
Underdog.